What's up, everybody? Welcome back, Offsides Podcast. I'm here with June. We holding it down tonight. First off, before we even get started, me and June and the Offside Podcast want to wish you guys a happy new year. 2025 is upon us. Brand new year. Time for us to correct what we didn't do last year. And you know what? Celebrate the wins at the end of next year, at the end of this year, next December. June, how you feeling, bro?
Yep. So happy New Year and happy holidays, like Frank said. And I'm feeling good, bro. I'm feeling good. Very motivated. Not gonna lie. Nah, let me get that pack of gum right there. I'm gonna show you what I was talking about. I was chewing on a pack of gum earlier. It's called Noro gum.
Neuro gum, energy and focus.
Yep. So 54 pieces. They're pretty pricey, but I tell you, man, it gives you this weird energy. Um, hopefully, I gotta check, make sure no drugs on here. But yeah, it says vegan. Look, check it out. Sugar free, vegan.
Okay. Gluten free. That's dope, man.
Yeah. So the only thing it gives you that energy, like not energy, that type of energy. It gives you that you know those 25-cent gums, and then you chew it, and in 10 seconds the flavor's gone.
Yeah.
This will give you like 60 seconds, man. The best 60 seconds of your life, man. So that's that right there.
Well, man, listen, that's I'm about to try it out. I mean, but that's the case with a lot of these gums, right? They don't give you the full flavor like you want for a long time. But that's what other gums all got that sugar and stuff in it, which ain't good for
Hmm.
you either. So, I guess you pick and choose your poison at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So let's get started, man. You know what? Wild card weekend is coming up this Saturday and Sunday and Monday. We got games. I think that's the first time I've seen a Monday night game for the wild card. I thought normally
Right?
right is on Saturday and Sundays, but you know what? NFL's trying
Hmm.
new shit, so we're gonna rock with it. But first off, this past weekend was Week 18. A lot of teams rested their people. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. Um, Browns at Ravens. Ravens won to end out the season, locking in the number 2 seed. I want to say in the AFC. Bengals at Steelers. Bengals handled their business to win. Hopefully, try to get in, beat the Steelers. Steelers dropped to 4 in a row to close out the season. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Bills at Patriots. Patriots won, losing the number 1 seed. I think subsequently getting their head coach fired. But Bills was already resting. They were good to go. They had nothing to worry about. Oh, they were the number 2 seed, I think, in the AFC, and Ravens were not. Panthers at Falcons. Panthers plowed another win. Bryce Young has been strong since coming back from being benched. I think it's good in the right direction. Send the Falcons home. Um, Keeping the Falcons out of the postseason. Commanders at Cowboys. Commanders pull out the win 23-19. Cowboys screwed over Cooper Rush because he would have played 55% of the snaps in the season. He would have got $500,000, half a mil, and they sat him down. Started Trey Young, right? No, not Trey Young, Trey Lance. And cost the man half a mil, asked the owner, hey, did you know? Nah, didn't know about it. But that's Jerry Jones. Bears close out the season strong, beating the Packers in Lambeau 24-22. Texans at Titans beat the Titans to close out the season, going into the postseason. That's pretty good. Packers took a hit that in that game. Jordan Love went out with an injury. They said it wasn't serious. They just kept him out because they didn't want to bring him back out and preserve him for the playoffs. But Christian Watson is out. I don't think he's starting this weekend with them, so they lost the receiver. Jaguars lost to the Colts. Colts closed out the season strong to 8-9. Jags, it is what it is. They got rid of Doug Peterson. I don't agree with that. We'll talk about that later. Giants at Eagles. The Eagles handle business um, against the Giants. I think that's good to keep some continuity going into the postseason. They didn't start Saquon. They didn't let him beat the record, which we thought he was going to do if he would have played against the Giants. But well, we could discuss that a little bit too if we want later on. Saints and Bucks. Bucks lost to the Saints. I mean, the Bucks beat the Saints. Sorry, not lost. Beat the Saints. Mike Evans tied the record 11 consecutive seasons with 1,000 yards or more. Awesome game for them. Good way to go into the postseason. The wild card Chiefs sat all their starters, brought in the practice squad, lost to the Broncos 38-0. I'm not going to celebrate that win for the Broncos because you beat the lunch squad. Uh,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So we'll see how you do next week. Chargers at Raiders. Chargers won, which I think is good to set the tone going into the wild card. Seahawks beat the Rams. Rams finished out strong, but Rams got wild card next week. Seahawks are out of the playoffs. Dolphins lost to the Jets. Good way for Aaron Rodgers to end the season, 32-20. 49ers got beat by the Cardinals 47-24. Interesting stat. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Marvin Harrison Sr.'s rookie year numbers are not that much off than his son's rookie year numbers.
Damn, that's
Yeah,
pretty dope.
that is pretty dope. Now, the game that we was waiting for Sunday night football, Vikings at Lions, number one seed on the line. Two teams that were 14-2 at the time. Vikings went out there and laid a straight dud, played like ass. Sam Darnold looked like he was back on the Jets, and the Lions found a way to still win despite giving up turnovers, despite not playing their best football, but still found a way to win. June, what is your take on the Sunday night game?
I'll tell you what, man. I'm over here bringing up the stats.
Oh, for the game?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I got it.
You talking about this past
Yeah,
Sunday
yeah, yeah.
night?
Yeah, yeah. Sunday night with the Vikings at Lions.
Man, I'll tell you, man, when things haunt you, man, in the game from poor decision making, it really will haunt you, man. And what 3 points will do to you will really have you, thinking your future decisions. And hopefully the head coach will understand that from Minnesota. Because instead of taking those 3 points back to back times, because it was in the red zone back to back on fourth downs, which they both didn't get,
Mm-hmm.
that's 6 points that they left on the board. That when the Lions kicked that one field goal, they would have been up 2 points. And that right there was the turning point of the game. Because now, once the Lions scored, it gave them that crazy momentum in Detroit, bro. In Detroit, out of all places, where that place is electric from everything that I've been reading. Um, so I think he lost the game in that first quarter, and it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate because they could have really made it a game, and I think they could have probably pulled it off, but because of that decision in the first quarter, I think it really messed up the entire strategy for Minnesota and always had them fighting to come back. When Detroit, on the other hand, Detroit played the perfect pressure game against Darnold. That's
Mm-hmm.
named Darnold. Darnold, right?
Cam Darnold, yeah.
Yeah. So they played the perfect game against Darnold. Darnold never been in that particular situation with that type of success in the team as the main man 300 grand. And all the Lions had to do was apply that pressure to Darnold. He had to move a lot faster and make plays that he wasn't used to all year
Mm-hmm.
because he never had that type of pressure. And
Mm-hmm.
the last time he had that negative, crazy pressure was against the Jags here. And the Jags they dropped the ball there. But that was the only time. And I think that was his worst game of the season where he threw like 4 picks. And they still won,
Who?
right? Against
Donald?
Minnesota.
Oh,
Yeah, Darnold.
okay. Let me see. I'll tell you right now. Let me go back. You keep going. I'll let you know because I'm gonna go back to the team stat. The team's record when they played.
How many?
Um, we need to get a better production team, man. They fucking suck. It was a 12-7 game, bro. That game. Darnold had 3 interceptions that game.
Yeah, three interception, and
Yep.
and that was his worst game as a quarterback this season, in my opinion. So the Lions, honestly, I don't know if they reviewed that game and they say, we'll apply pressure to this man. This is what he's gonna do, and he didn't make crucial mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
but he had to make those decisive mistakes at a faster pace, which I think disrupted that
Yeah.
playmaking as that quarterback.
Yeah. The
So
Lions. Yeah.
shout out to the Lions.
Yeah. The Lions defense played a great game. If there was a point in the game, you saw the DC was just sitting on the bench with his hands up like this while the team was playing. And he had his hands up, like, you know what? I'm resting. Job well done. They gave him kudos for it the day after. Um, it was amazing how they did it, man. And I feel confident in the Lions going to this postseason. I'm not as confident to the Vikings going into this postseason. Because if
Right.
I'm a defense that knows that, listen, as long as I can get pressure on this guy, he's going to overthrow the ball. He's not going to hit the target. It's going to go back to the Sam Darnold of the Jets. And it sucks because he had such a great year this year. But now it makes you think, do we want to pay this guy?
Mm.
Excuse me. Do we want to extend him, keep him the starter? I think that's going to have a lot to do with this game coming up on Monday night against the Rams. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I talked about Sunday night game, but what game to you besides Sunday night was important or had value or merit to it in Sunday that you felt was a good showing, good or bad for the team that won or didn't make it? Like what game stood out to you besides the Lions and Vikings?
Um, I'll tell you what, man, even though they lost the Steelers, right?
Okay.
It makes you really think, right? They kind of went they went and it was a defensive game. It was a great defensive game by Pittsburgh. They only held what's his name, Joe Burrow to 19 points. Um, and not just Joe Burrow, but Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, right? Because they were all out there. So I think that's great for the Steelers. But this is where the concern comes into play. You're about to go play Lamar in Baltimore
Mm-hmm.
at a hot streak, finishing the year off the way that he finished off. So that's why I chose that game. They only lost by 2 points, but is Russell capable of pulling that rabbit out of that hat against Lamar and those damn Ravens in Baltimore?
Um,
I'm gonna give you my answer after you give me yours.
no, they can't. Listen, the Steelers are and you know, Bree gonna hate me after I say it. They were frauds from the whole jump. Um, I've said this and I've said it again. And people, I did buy into them. I did come on here and I did say on a play call that they stand a chance based on the defensive play. I felt that if they can, to me, the defining game was going to be the Chiefs game because we saw Mahomes had a weak offensive line. We're thinking, oh, with TJ Highsmith, Hayward, they can get home. You got Minka, you got these guys in the back end, they can cover. What happened was the week before the game, I saw the Chiefs come out with, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy. And I was like, oh, fuck, these guys are out here and they're all catching balls. Pause. So what are
Hmm.
you going to do to stop that? So when they played the Chiefs, it showed the inability of the defense to get a stop, right? The inability of the offense to step up and be the best side of the ball when the defense couldn't be the defense they was. So at that point, I told Bree, I said, hey, I don't think they're going to beat. Yeah, I can't stop the Chiefs. What happened? Lost to the Chiefs. They lost to the Eagles. Um, they lost to the Bengals. They should have beat. They should have beat the Bengals in the first time they played. To be honest with you, it was the Bengals defense that couldn't stop anybody. So look, they caught the Ravens and beat them 18-16. We all said that day the Ravens was the reason they lost. The Ravens didn't play right. Lamar didn't play right. They lose to the Browns the following week, which is like, oh shit, you lost to the Browns. Okay. They beat the Bengals 44-38, but Bengals couldn't stop a leak. They beat the Browns like they should have, but then they lose to the Eagles 27-13, belt to ass. Ravens 34-17, belt to ass. Chiefs 29-10, belt to ass. And then you go lose against the Bengals 19-17. They're not gonna win unless Lamar goes out there. Lamar Jackson himself have to go out there and do what he did last year against the Chiefs and not play his game. They'll win that game. But they don't have enough weapons on offense to make it do what it do. Your man's in them, what's his name? Pickens dropped the ball. 0 yards, bro. 0 yards. He had one reception, 0 yards, and mad drops. Russell is not the old Russell, but he's not whack if he has support from the wide receivers and stuff like that. So no, I don't think they're gonna win. I think the Steelers are who we thought they were. They just knew how to beat certain teams and they came out. When I said this to Bree, she defended it, but they haven't beat no real good teams. When you think about it, who they beat in the beginning of the season, if they would have played them probably later in the season, they would have lost. So it's like that's like me saying my Patriots can beat the Bengals just because they beat them week one. No, my Patriots would have played the Bengals that was playing the last 5 games of the season. Listen, there's no winning. They would have got their ass whooped, and I would have been saying here looking stupid. Bengals went on a 5-game winning streak to close the season. You know, so no, I don't think the Steelers are going to win. I think they're going to lose. I think, but if the Steelers win, it's not because the Steelers play great. It's because the Eagles did not. I mean, not the Eagles. The Ravens didn't play like they should play. Now you go ahead with your answer.
And this is the crazy situation right here. What does Russell have to lose?
Nothing.
Hey, Tomlin got his 88th winning season, right? And I'm being sarcastic with that, but it's already there. They made the playoffs. I don't think they were probably even thought of making the playoffs. Matter of fact, when we get off, I want to search what was their predicted record this year, right? Because I'm pretty sure it was definitely not 10-6 or 10-7 or whatever.
Oh, they had them losing.
Right. So my thing is the Steelers are a bigger threat than we think because they don't have the pressures that Lamar Jackson is bringing into the wild card round at home because of Lamar Jackson's track record in the playoffs. Even as the MVP, even as having that offense, you know, and I get it, they didn't have Henry last year. So Henry's a huge piece to that team, especially in the playoffs, because Henry knows what they're capable of. Now, my concern is the pressure on Lamar going to cost them the game against the Steelers that don't have as much to lose as they do? Because in my opinion, the Steelers already won given what the season that they had. If that makes sense, right? So again, that's my only concern is the pressures that Lamar is going to have, and what the Steelers don't have to lose. And that's why I say it's going to be probably a lot closer game than what we think. And I could sit here and I thought about it for a second and I said, well, you know what? Lamar's coming into this playoffs red hot. So was he. So was last year. So was the year before that. And he lost at home last year. And that's just my take on it, just because of the pressures that he's gonna have.
Yeah.
And what they don't have to lose in Pittsburgh.
So, okay, good point. He's 2-4 in the playoffs. His numbers are horrible. He's 9 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. He's 1 for 1. I agree all there. I 100%. I like the way you threw the curveball. But to answer your question, ESPN May 15, 2024 had them projected at over or under 8.5 wins. So let's say 8 wins. They got it. You know, they made it. They're 10-7. So they went over. Cool. And we're gonna talk about this a little bit because we got time. But Lamar, that's why I'm saying. That's why I go back to what I said. Lamar needs to show up today. See, and not to go off topic because we're talking about the games. We can talk about it after. But I said this yesterday. I don't know if he was on the call or not. When I said the AFC, it depends on how Josh and Lamar show up. If we get the Lamar Jackson that lost at home to the Chiefs last year in the AFC Championship and played horrible, then he's one and done this year against the Steelers, or maybe 1-2 and done, and he's going home. But if he shows up like the Lamar, his numbers this year are better than last year. Lamar Jackson's numbers this year are way better than what last year in the regular season. It might be a different game. But the problem with the Steelers is the offense. They can't score. They're not putting up points. If you look at like you talk about the Vikings had no touchdowns in the red zone. That if they would have punched at least one touchdown in, it makes difference. Steelers against the last, they just can't score, bro. Because the offense is stagnant when Pickens isn't having a good game.
Yeah, it's big time.
But my thing with that is get rid of him. I don't think he's a good player. I think he's great when it comes to being a wide receiver. But when it comes to organizational, and the thing is they criticize Tomlin for this. While you're winning, You allow these receivers to do whatever the fuck they want to do. Then when you start losing, you try to rile them in. You can't let your son and your kids do what the fuck they want to do, and then when they got out of hand, try to bring them in. No, you can't discipline after you let them used to be doing whatever they want to do, and
Okay.
that's the problem. But yeah, so I agree. I think if Lamar shows up, Ravens win. But if Lamar doesn't, Steelers could come out with the win. They don't have much to lose. But there's pressure there. There's pressure for Tomlin. There's pressure. You haven't won a playoff game since 2016.
Mm.
You haven't. Let me see. I got this. I took a screenshot, and I was gonna share it on our play call chat to be messy. But I said, I'm not gonna do that because Bree's been very humble this year, with her team losing towards the end and not crashing out. So I said, what would Jesus do? And Jesus would be nice and not put her to the floor because my team is struggling. But I'm gonna share my screen, and this was on Speak, so I'm gonna give shout out to Fox Sports One Speak. No, the facility. I'm sorry, the facility. James Jones put this up. So Mike Tomlin from 2007 to 10 wins and losses in the postseason was 5-2, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl win, most consecutive seasons without an AFC Championship appearance, 1, and longest losing streak games, 1. From 2011 to present, he's 3-8 in the postseason, 0 Super Bowl appearances, 0 Super Bowl wins, 7 seasons without AFC Championship appearance, and 5 losing streaks in game 1 of the postseason. But what's the difference? From 07 to 10, he was still living off the team that Bill Cowher built that won the Super Bowl recently.
Mm.
So all he did was just keep winning, and the team won another Super Bowl. The teams weren't that strong back then. Back then, if you think about it, it was Falcons. No, I'm sorry. AFC, it was Ravens, Pittsburgh, Patriots, Colts, maybe Denver, or Chargers, but there weren't that many teams winning. Now, as you progress, teams started getting better. So that's his record. So technically, he's 8-10 in the postseason.
Mm.
He's this great head coach who he has regular season wins. He's like the Peyton Manning of head coaches in a regular season.
Yeah.
So 8-8. No, I'm sorry, 8-10 with 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win, 8 total seasons missing without the championship. He's been coaching for 18 seasons, and that's under 500. And then 6 seasons total of losing in game 1.
Who did he lose that Super Bowl to?
The Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers' only Super Bowl win was to him.
Mm.
So when you look at it, Tom, and then there's another one. There's another one, and I know I put this one in the chat, which it got ignored. I don't appreciate it, but it's okay. I guess when you point out facts, people don't want to see it. I'll show you this one. Hold on. Where is it at? Come on. Look at this. Mike McCarthy and him got so Mike McCarthy and Tomlin in a 10-win season, 11 10-win seasons, 10-win seasons, 8-10 in the playoffs total, 11-11, 1 Super Bowl, 1 Super Bowl. So Mike McCarthy has a better record. He's 500 in the postseason, has the same amount of 10-win seasons, 10 wins or more in the season, 11-11, and they both got 1 Super Bowl title. So why we don't talk about Mike McCarthy like he's the man? And mind you, he went to the team, the Cowboys, who we know is an organization, and has 3 seasons of 12, 12, and 12. Anyways,
I don't know. That's a sensitive thing with Mike.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's sensitive. It's realistic. I think it's realistic. We can discuss it after the season. Let's see what happens next week, and we could talk about where his destination should be. Listen, when I was recording this earlier by myself, I said something. There's different levels of winning for organization.
Right.
I think you could understand this. Browns, Lions, up until 2 years ago, certain teams just having a winning season is the best thing that can happen to them. Eagles, Patriots, Chiefs, Pittsburgh, Ravens, 49ers, a regular season winning shit unless you go to the postseason and go to Super Bowls. So we can celebrate somebody consistently winning in the regular season, but the Pittsburgh Steelers organization is a team that wants to win Super Bowls. They have 6 of them. Regular season wins don't matter. Well, what are we doing in the postseason to go to the playoffs? To go to the Super Bowl. That's what matters. There's different levels of winning for organizations. After this season, the Lions don't want to see just another regular season win. They want to see playoffs, a NFC championship, because that's where they should have been at last year. You know what I'm saying? They're going, and hopefully this year they go, to the NFC championship. So there's different levels to this shit, man. And, I think people need to realize that at the end of the day, what are we here? Just to win games? Or are we here to go to the Super Bowl and win championships, We talked about Steelers, and you brought up the Steelers. We talked about that game on Saturday. What about Chargers at Texans? Who do you got that game?
Man, the Texans are in the same situation, I think, as they were last year, minus Tank Dell. I still think they have a great running back.
Yeah, they do.
They have I think they got a great quarterback. Hell, has he been struggling this year? Yes. But I don't think D'Amico Ryans is gonna go into this playoff and fold like he's been folding, in my opinion, the last couple of weeks, based on what he's had. So I think they're gonna come out with a great strategy. And the Chargers are good, bro. They really are. But I'm gonna be really honest with you, bro. I'm not a believer. Not yet. And for that sole reason, I'm giving the Texans an opportunity. Jay Herbo's great, man, but he plays horrible under pressure. And I mean, there's been games where I lost my parlays because of that motherfucker right there. All right. Golly, it pisses me off just thinking about it. But all right, that was a personal opinion there. But but honestly, again, he's a great quarterback, but I don't even think that team was set up to be where they're at right now. I think that they're set up to be where they're at with the type of the hype of that they're at, within the next 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're ahead of the ball game. But I give them the edge over the Texans just based on the fact that the injuries that the Texans have. So, if I had to give percentages, I say 60% will go to the Chargers and 40 to the Texans, giving them a good opportunity still. Because at the end of the day, the defense still got to do their job.
Chargers are favored by 3 in Texas. See, Harbaugh is ahead of his game, ahead of the schedule. Nobody had the Chargers in the playoffs this year. Nobody. We thought it was going to be another year before we see them in the playoffs, and they're here this time. Which shows you that the team was good. They just needed coaching. That's what it shows you. Now, they catching the Texans, I think, in C.J. Stroud's sophomore slump, if you want to call it that. I said it when I recorded this earlier. I said that he's in I think it's more mental for him. And as a quarterback, your mental stability matters more than anything, because your position has to be right, your accuracy has to be right, your anticipation has to be right. You can't lose confidence. It's like a pitcher losing confidence in baseball. It's gonna destroy you. And just like a hitter, it matters. It matters when you go at the plate. Can you hit the ball that's going to be thrown at you? Do you have that confidence to strike this person out? And when you don't have that, a quarterback has to have all that intact to be able to play the game. So I think that what's wrong with C.J. Stroud is more than just a sophomore slump. I think it's more mental. I think it's maybe the lack of success this year, vice his first year. He's his second year. He's a young man trying to find his way. But I do believe that if he can find about 10% of himself and be more accurate with his throws, they can win this game. They can win this game. Because I also feel the Chargers defense has to show up. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to go Chargers based on the weakness of the Texans. Like you said, 60-40 split, I think is a good idea. To me, it's more like a 55-45, just because I think the Texans can turn around just like that, So I like to see that. But, yeah, I agree. Chargers can take it. I think Chargers will be the only road team to upset the home team this wild card round. So that's Saturday game. Sunday game, we have Broncos at Bills. I'm gonna go Bills. They're favored by 8.5 points at home. I think Josh Allen's gonna put the cape on, and remind motherfuckers why he is Josh Allen. Another team that's ahead of schedule. Broncos are ahead of schedule. Sean Payton got these guys rolling. But I think that the rookies' inexperience in the postseason is going to show up to Josh Allen's experience in the postseason, and they're in Buffalo. That's my take. I go Buffalo. I think 8.5 is a lot. I think it's more going to be like maybe 5 points difference, but um, I go Bills. What you got?
I don't know, man. I think I agree with everything you just said, except I think it's gonna be more than a 5.5. More than 8.5. I think that the Bills are gonna pull away at home due to the rookies' lack of experience. And again, we're talking about teams that are not supposed to be where they are, and
Yeah.
the Broncos fall into that category. So right now, I would have the Bills winning, maybe by 14, 2 touchdowns, maybe by 10. And I'm not gonna be that ignorant. So I'll give him 10 points. And I have Bo Nix having a an okay game. However, I think he will make mistakes and he will throw an interception. So and that's due to the inexperience and what the Bills are trying to prove in the wild card game, given their playoff exits in the past. So yeah, I go with the Bills. Denver, you guys had a great ride, but don't beat yourselves up. You know, uh, you guys are in the same boat as the Chargers, in my opinion. Instead of having that 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 rookie quarterback, you bring a lot of experience to the table with the head coach that they have. So that's why I chose what I chose. Again, Bo Nix is gonna throw a pick. I'm gonna put that in a parlay. He's gonna have less than 225 yards. He's averaging a lot more than 200, but he's gonna have less than 225, in my opinion. And guys, if you follow this right here, don't try to sue us or try to sue me because I'm not a guide or a mentor of parlays of any kind. However, I have the Bills, um, well, winning by 10 or more. I have Bo Nix throwing an interception with less than 225 yards. I have Allen with 3 anytime touchdowns, whether he throws or he rushes in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think Cook is going to cook.
That's gonna be the difference. I think the running backs catching the ball at the backfield too. But good take overall. I want to see it again. Like I said when we talked about the Ravens, I think Josh Allen got to show up. This is the year that you're talking about 1 and 2 in the MVP voting. And I think it's gonna come down to who shows up. These guys, you cannot. Let's be honest. In the AFC side, in the NFL, period, the Super Bowl is gonna go through the Chiefs. You got to get through them to get to the Super Bowl. And if you get to the Super Bowl, you're gonna have to beat them. So it's one of those things where it's like you got to show up now or never. We can't keep talking about how great you are or great y'all are because that's what we do. And then when you get to the postseason, you let Mahomes, that's having the worst season of his fucking career, which is still a great career, a great season compared to whack quarterbacks, beat you. You know what I'm saying? So I agree there. Second game, no, I'm gonna leave that one for last. The third game of I'm gonna leave your team for last on this take here. Actually, no, let's go into it. Packers and Eagles. My only concern, June, with this is Jalen gonna fucking play? Because I'm telling
Is
you, no Jalen, I think y'all suspect. Jalen, y'all great. So I can't make a decision without Jalen being in that game. But I'm still gonna go Eagles at home. Close game. I think pull it out. Y'all got enough talent. But Jalen not being there, he didn't practice. He's still concussion protocol, bro. What's your take, man?
well, today they let go of Books, right? He was the third quarterback in the roster with Jalen being gone on concussion protocol. You enter the game with 3 quarterbacks in your depth chart, right?
Mhm.
Um, so now what today they let go of Books.
Okay.
So that just tells you there's going to be 3 quarterbacks and Jalen is one of them, right?
Mhm.
So, um, and after reading and reading, they can't take Jalen out of concussion protocol until practice, which the first practice is tomorrow. So we'll find out tomorrow whether or not I'll be concerned. But I don't have a concern, man. I think he's going to be good. Okay. I don't have a concern. I think Jalen's going to be there. But if he isn't, then yes, you can leave him. But if he isn't, then yes, I will be concerned. And the only reason I would still be slightly concerned and not immensely is because of the injuries that the Packers just suffered last week, which now works in our favor, like we were talking last night. So I don't know, man. It should be a win for the Eagles, but if it's not, bye bye Sirianni.
Uh, so
Same.
okay, here's the deal. Jalen's in the game. Jalen just came off concussion protocol. You got to be careful how you use Jalen. Because if you put Jalen in a tush push, he gets hit in his head, he's concussed, y'all lost the game. He's out. He runs the ball and gets hit, scrambles out, and he gets concussed. That's a problem. So, um, no Jalen in the game, it's going to be concerning. Jalen in the game can still be concerning. I think you guys have enough talent to win, regardless of if he's in the game or not. And here's why
Mm,
I think you guys can win, regardless, is if your defense shows up. Because your defense can level out the playing field, especially with the Packers not having all their weapons there. And we know that Jordan Love likes to give up some interceptions here and there.
right.
He's a gunslinger, so and it's at home. And you know what? They had success last year in the postseason. They beat the Cowboys. Wow, good job, bravo Zulu. But now they go into the link, and they got to face the Eagles, who got Saquon, who has something to prove, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, who want to keep proving that they're probably the best wide receiver tandem in the league, and a good offensive line. You know what I'm saying? So I think what's going to make the difference for you guys is going to be your defense actually showing up and making it difficult for Jordan Love to be and do what he's supposed to do. I think your defense shows up regardless whether it's Kenny Pickett, whether it's me and you throwing the ball, y'all gonna win.
Right. All right. I think so too. I think the defense is going to show up. Man, I was looking at this crazy stat, man. I think, yeah, I posted it on the chat. Um, of where they were last year. Um,
Yeah, you did. You did.
right. I think that they're 28th,
Yeah.
and to be first this year, I mean, that's a huge turnaround.
Well, that's the Vic Fangio effect that you was criticizing at the beginning of the season. Remember, you was like, I don't know what's up with this Vic Fangio guy, but he got
I
him.
yeah, I was concerned, man, because he chose Miami over us the year before,
Yeah.
and that pissed me off a little bit. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie. So then he want to come to us later on, and I'm like, come on, man. Hey, I believe when I see it. But hey, I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe it.
I'm glad you believe it because he's a good DC. You know, some guys are not meant to be head coaches. I look at Steve Spagnuolo with the Chiefs. He struggled as a head coach, but as a DC, that motherfucker's winning. He got fucking rings for days. You know, he got 5 rings.
Who? Spagnola?
Yeah, he has two with
Damn.
the Giants against the Patriots, and then he has his 2 or 3 with the Chiefs, bro. So, all right. So
Damn.
we saying Eagles regardless. Fuck it, they gonna win. Jalen or no Jalen, Eagles all the way, right?
Yeah.
Fly Eagles fly. That's what y'all say.
Let's go.
Okay. Commanders at Bucks. I'm going Bucks at home. I'm gonna take Baker's experience, that team's experience in the postseason, winning a Super Bowl previously. Not Baker, but the team. Mike Evans lights out. I'm gonna go Bucks at home. I'm gonna say the Commanders' experience as a young rookie quarterback might show up in the playoffs and not play great. So, Tom Quinn's done a great job. Another team that's ahead of schedule going into the season. So, but I'm gonna go Bucks at home. What you got?
Man, I gotta. Oh man. I low key want to go to the game.
It's Sunday, bro, at 8 o'clock.
Are you gonna be down here?
Yeah, I'll be in Florida, bro. I'll be in Claremont.
I don't know, man. I was thinking about it. I said,
I'm gonna try to we'll talk about it after the game, bro.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, after we record, let's go.
I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a hell of a game. I really do think so. I think the momentum that these Bucks and that spark that they find, um, I think Bucky Irvin is going to shine really big in the playoffs for the Bucks,
Okay.
and he's a gem. You already know they got him, Mike Evans, and Baker's Baker, man. You know, shout out to him, man. I think I still don't think that he gets enough credit, uh, given his story to where he is now. So I got the Bucks winning, man. But it's going to be a tight game, in my opinion, because Daniels is that hell of a quarterback, and
Yeah, yeah.
he's playing like a great sophomore right now. So, and that's another team. Hell, if you want to put that into the mix, but that was my sleeper team. That was my sleeper team coming in. So I'm kind of not surprised because they got a lot of great veterans around him, and with Dan Quinn, man, he shout out to him, man, as a coach. As a coach, I think he pieced it right, and his strategic movement around his players have been panning out for the positives. So it just shows a lot about the coaching, what he can and can't do. So shout out to him. It didn't work out in what was it, in Dallas?
He was a DC in Dallas. He was the head coach in Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
He was head
Yeah.
coach in Atlanta. And they went to the Super Bowl. I mean, they lost to the Patriots, but you know,
Yeah. So I don't know. I got the Bucks winning, but it's gonna be a very tight game. And the only reason I would have the Bucks winning is just based off of the more experience on a quarterback,
mhm.
and that's it.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me, man. I think Baker's having a great season, just like oh boy. I think that Baker's dealt with a little bit more over obstacles than Sam Darnold over there in Minnesota. But listen, man, I think it's gonna be great. But I think Baker's experience and the team's experience as a whole, Todd Bowles' experience as well. It's gonna be two defensive minded head coaches going at each other. I think it's gonna be a great game. Um, but it's gonna come down to which quarterback makes the mistakes, honestly, and gives other team more opportunities. All right, so Monday night game, man, is Vikings at Rams. I got Rams, man. I think the Rams are gonna capitalize on Vikings misfortune going into the game, and I think that they're in Los Angeles, so it's going to be a Rams win. They got Minnesota favored by 1 point, so that can go either way.
Damn.
Yeah, so I'm going I'm going Rams. I say by a field goal, bro. I think it's going to come down to who has the ball last and who can score before the end of the clock.
I think the Vikings are gonna make better decisions this time up. And the Vikings defense is very good. So I think I'm gonna go Vikings, and I think it's a good bounce back game for Sam and the receivers because Jefferson didn't have a great game either. He had drops too.
Hmm.
So um I think that they'll tighten up and they'll win the game. And then ultimately I believe not just because of the offense, but I think the defense is gonna step up and win that game against the Rams.
Okay, I like that. I like that take. I'll see what's up, man. But look, real quick, bro. We got time. We're doing good on time. Um, few firings. We have Doug Peterson got fired. Gerard Mayo got let go. Antonio Pierce got let go. The DC for the Bengals got let go. But I want to stick to the three head coaches we know are gone. Doug and Antonio Pierce and Gerard Mayo. I'm gonna start with Mayo. I called this an emotional hire by Robert Kraft. I felt Robert Kraft, not knowing which way he wanted to go, went with the guy that was grown in the system, known the guy that he drafted, who was defensive rookie player of the year, got him a Super Bowl, and went with home team instead of looking at what was needed. And I think that when he realized as a business owner, a billionaire, that you can't make emotional decisions. That's one thing Belichick doesn't do, and he gets criticized for it.
Right.
Um, you got to make the decision that's right for the team to get the team. And I was saying this before, and I said it with us. in our podcast or in our chat. I'm an owner. You got to think Robert Kraft for many years was the guy that people used to talk shit to, like look up to and envy because they were always winning. We're not winning no more. He wants to win. Who the
Mm,
hell wants to be a billionaire and you can't own a team and say I'm winning?
right.
He saw it wasn't going that the right direction. I don't think it got anything to do with Mike Vrabel. I think it has everything to do with the fact that he's like, listen, I'm tired of losing, and whatever it's going to take for me to win, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what he did. He fired a guy that he loved, that he knows, that he's seen come up in the game, and hopefully he builds something strong. So that's that. What's your take on that? Antonio Pierce being gone, Dougie P. We already know that it was Trevor Lawrence that cost Dougie P his job. But what's your take on it, man?
Man, it's very unfortunate for Dougie P. Um, I think they should have fired the GM. They should have restructured Trevor Lawrence's contract and kept Doug, because we all know what the problem was in Jacksonville. And it's very unfortunate, you know. I think leading into this new building of the new the $2 billion stadium downtown Jacksonville.
Mm.
Um, I don't know if that has something to play with it. If you think about it,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just me,
bro.
but
Sales matter.
right, and that's what I personally think. So I mean, why not keep that? Get rid of that GM, man. That GM is not making key moves. The owner believes that this was a playoff team. Where? Uh, Wake up, my guy. Um, so maybe that's the problem, the owner. But
Maybe.
yeah, yeah. And Antonio Pierce, man, I don't know. I always thought he was just another trial, because he got put in there when they let go of old buddy, and
Mhm.
he did okay. And then, they gave him that extension really early too. It's just kind of weird.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not too surprised on Antonio Pierce. And earlier I said that, but you have Brady has something that had Brady all over it, right? And I was just joking. I said that 'cause I know I was gonna get something out of it. But um, but you know what? Brady's there. He's bringing that experience, and I mean, hell, man, they got a hell of a team. They really do. They're missing a few key players. I mean, shit, that dude, what's his name? Bowers, the tight end.
Yeah, that dude is amazing.
That dude's amazing. He broke the rookie record for that franchise. You got that gem, Jacoby Myers. Golly, that dude killed it this year.
Yeah, he was out
Killed,
on the Patriots. And we
yeah, and
go and sign Juju Smith-Schuster for nothing. Because where's Juju at with the damn Chiefs now? But anyway, that's another story.
that's crazy, man. So yeah, Jacoby Myers. Hey, shout out to him, man. He had a hell of a season. I think he has the less drops in the entire league.
Yeah.
Um, and he's killed it, man. He killed it. So shout out to him.
No, he was an
Mm,
undrafted pick for us. And
that's crazy.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
So, and what was the other one? Who was the third fire coach?
we got Gerard Mayo, Dougie P, and Antonio Pierce. Now
Yeah, yeah.
you had the
Mm,
DC from the Bengals gone. But you already knew why he was gone. You couldn't stop a leak. So guess what?
mm,
Probably would have been in the playoffs if your defense could show the fuck up. Even though I think he did good with what he had, it just wasn't good enough when your offense is stroking. Like I said, they are the first team in history to have the sack leader, the triple crown winner, and the number one quarterback in the league, and you missed the playoffs.
that sucks, man.
And when you look at it, the
It
weak
sucks.
the defense, you
And
know.
they had a rough start though. I think if the tables were turned and you take away that first quarter, well, the first five game of the season, because they had a horrible start. Remember we talked about it.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
had a horrible start to the season. I think those first five games really, really matter. And that bit them in the ass at the end of the day.
Did it matter, bro? That shit definitely mattered. Them
Yeah.
that's the problem. They start off slow, and then you want to blame the defense coordinator, but something had to happen. The thing is, they had three losses. So yeah, within the first 5 weeks, they went 1-5. They went 1-4, and they had two losses already. One loss in the division and three in the conference.
Mm.
Then they beat the Giants and then lost to the Eagles, beat the Raiders, then lost to the Ravens, Chargers, Steelers. Then they went out. So I mean, he's gone. There's other people that got fired. Dable staying and Joe Shine is staying
Mm.
in the Giants. I think Dable staying is good. I don't really blame everything on Dable. Um, I think that the look, I said this before and I'll say it again. For all these Giants fans out there that thought that Saquon's gonna have this kind of year on the Giants, people wake up. The-
Yeah.
It wasn't gonna happen. He was not gonna have this year that he had on the Giants. So instead of hating on the man going somewhere where he knew he could play and
Hmm.
for the Super Bowl, let's congratulate him because he gave you years of his life that you did nothing with. You didn't build the offensive line to protect him. You didn't get the stuff that you need to get him going. So no, leave him alone. So Dable being there and the GM, I like it. Especially Dable, Coach of the Year one year. Um, I think this is going to be a make or break year for him, though, especially if they get Shador. But again, you're behind the 8 ball because the Eagles are not going to let off. I don't see nothing stopping the Eagles from being the Eagles, and the Commanders already got a step ahead of you. So now the Commanders should look at tape and say, "What do we need? More offensive weapons
Mm.
and a better maybe some defensive pieces here and there." I'm a strong believer in a strong offensive line, a good defense, and good offensive plays going to win all the time. You don't got to have the you don't got to have a bunch of number ones out there. You could, as long as you have a good offensive line, good coaching, a defense that can stop and show up when they need to, and your offense is good and not giving the ball over, you're gonna win games.
Right.
You're gonna win games. All right, well, that's all I got, man. That's what we got today. Wild card weekend's upon us. Saturday we got 2 games. Sunday 3-1 on Monday. Um, next episode we're gonna be talking about the division rounds and who made it, who didn't. Hopefully, the teams we think gonna make it, and the ones that
Man.
don't be mad at June for his picks. He's not a analyst. He's not a parlay genius. He does hit when he hits, but don't take it. I don't want y'all writing us tomorrow. Oh, you suck. You told me to go fucking
Oh man.
one turnover and 10 touchdowns, and next thing you know, you mad at hell because you lost your house. Uh,
Yeah, no. Hey, here goes my cash app, so you guys can send me what I lost. Okay.
right, yeah. Good luck with that. Anyways, that's Offsides Podcast, man. Happy New Year from us to you. Share, like, subscribe, leave us comments, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.